Jaylen Brown has created a big mess he is clearly trying to get out of. First, goes on a live stream after the Celtics lose Game 7 and says some weird things, including how this was his favorite season ever despite losing in the first round. So ESPN's like, does that mean Jaylen's unhappy in Boston? Finals MVP wasn't good enough for you? So C's president of basketball operations, Brad Stevens, had to address this on camera. Said, I talked to Jaylen, he was nothing but positive, and he has not expressed those frustrations to me. Okay, this is a little out of hand. Jaylen says, I gotta go back on my live stream to dig out of this hole. Says, I love Boston. If it was up to me, I would play in Boston the next 10 years. And he tried to explain the whole favorite season thing. But he had no choice but to address this. Jaylen Brown has been streaming on Twitch multiple times per week this season. He couldn't suddenly stop streaming after all this drama. That's a bad look. And if he does stream, then you have to say something. And what? The reports are true? No, that would make the noise 10 times worse. But you know who also said something? Jaylen's close personal friend, Tracy McGrady. He said the drama is 100% real, and why would he make that up? But this is a much bigger deal than it has to be because of the Giannis situation. Giannis and Jaylen make almost the exact same amount of money, so a swap would be easy to do, and we just got a gigantic update on the Greek Freak. So one Bucks owner named Wes Edens told the media like a month ago that they were done playing around. Giannis will have to decide this offseason to stay or go. Milwaukee is out of patience. But then they hired this new coach, Taylor Jenkins, and they introduced him at a press conference, which allowed the media to speak with the other owner, Jimmy Haslam. And he got real. Haslam says they need an answer from Giannis before the NBA draft. So the Giannis situation will get resolved about a month from now. And by the way, that makes total sense if you're the Bucks. Like, you are going to draft different if Giannis is in or if he's out. And that's really important because they might have a top pick. But will Boston be involved? Well, The Athletic says the Celtics are known to be interested and discussed in league circles as potential suitor for Giannis this summer. And Brian Windhorst, of course it makes sense for Milwaukee. Of course the Bucks are monitoring the Jaylen Brown situation very closely, and they'd be getting ready to call Boston. What? Is this about to happen? But NBA playoffs rolling on. So much fun playing PrizePicks every single night. Win or lose, the cash is just a bonus if I can win, but I'm guaranteed to have like 10 times more fun every night if I have some picks in. I love how easy the app is to use. All you got to do, pick more or less on a few players' stats, and you're set. So, my 2 picks for tonight. First up is Lou Dort and Rui. We're going to go less on their threes, and then DeAndre Ayton, we're going to go more on his rebounds. And best of luck if you're tailing those picks. PrizePicks, available in all these states. No better time to sign up with this second round coming up, and nothing helps out the channel more than using code AMHOOPS when you sign up. Use code AMHOOPS. If you play just $5, you'll get $50 in lineups instantly, win or lose. Well, it all started after the C's blew that 3-1 series lead to Philly, and before Game 7, they got word that Jason Tatum would not suit up, so it was up to Jaylen Brown, like it was all year in a 56-win season, to step up. But despite multiple chances at the end to win, a wide-open free throw line jumper from Jaylen sees lose. Next day, Brown goes on a live stream and doubled down on accusations against Joel Embiid, saying he's a great player, one of the best bigs in effing basketball history, but he flops and he knows it, which is just fun trash talk. But then he accused referees of having an agenda against him. Officials called 10 offensive fouls on Jaylen for using his off arm to create space. Why are you targeting me? They clearly had an agenda. Maybe it's because I spoke. I was critical of the refs in the regular season. So you know how they responded? You're gonna lead the playoffs in offensive fouls. Really? Now, before we say that that's crazy, it does turn out 10 offensive fouls in 7 games. I mean, compared to his regular season, a 3.7x increase. So yeah, they were calling fouls on him almost 4 times the normal rate. No wonder he was paranoid. But is it more likely that the refs all got together in a conspiracy against Jaylen, or that the other team was sending a scouting report to the refs saying, he does this all the time and it's not legal, you need to call it? So the NBA fined Jaylen Brown $50K for his comments about refs, but that's not the comment that made real drama. Jaylen then called this year his favorite season ever, despite his best teammate being out almost all year and a first-round exit. A man who has been Finals MVP, Conference Finals 6 times, and this was your favorite year? The exact quote: "This group is a special group. I'm so proud of this group and the way we played. I wish we would have trusted that style of play a little bit more, but I know the playoffs kind of shifted our rotations and what we wanted to do. But I'm so proud, and it was my favorite year of my basketball career." Really? Your favorite year? And it just so happened this was the year that you led the C's in scoring, first time ever, and career highs across the board. But the team lost in the first round. That's your favorite year. Just bizarre. Oh, but that's not what he meant. Really? C superfan Bill Simmons said, "You know, it's becoming clear to me and a lot of other people that Jaylen just wants his own team." Tracy McGrady, a very close personal friend of Jaylen Brown, said, "I think his frustration lies deeply in the organization that we don't actually have the details to. There's just been a lot of stuff that I've been hearing just going on with the Boston organization with JB, and that is especially concerning because of T-Mac's relationship with Jaylen. Back in 2019, after Boston lost to Milwaukee in the playoffs, Brown traveled to Houston to live and train with T-Mac, and T-Mac had to talk Jaylen out of demanding a trade off Boston back then. So he's basically saying this tension has existed, never got resolved, even with a championship. So it looks like whatever this issue is never going to be resolved. And if Jaylen does want to trade, fine. It's not a Celtics thing, okay? They like the Finals MVP that won a title 2 years ago. Led them to 56 wins this year, right? But if he's not happy in Boston, Giannis might be. Because speaking about his own future, the Greek freak randomly praised the Celtics and Joe Mazzulla. "Everything about my decision is based on winning culture." Like, you know what? I talked with Boston coach Joe Mazzulla, and I said, "You had so many opportunities to make excuses, but you didn't because the C's started slow." And he said, "Oh, well, I've got good players." And I said, "No, it's about the mentality that you installed in your place. Yeah, the Celtics are the best." He was also kind of using that as a way to criticize Doc Rivers in the Bucks organization. So what kind of trade are we talking here? Well, on Boston, Giannis would be surrounded with shooters. Ideal. They had the 4th highest free throw rate last year, which is actually a down season. In fact, shooting is so part of their identity. In 2025, became the first team ever to shoot more 3s than 2s. But the problem is that if they're not hitting them, they ain't winning. Celtics went 44-6 in games when they made at or above 35% of their 3s, but 15 to 24 games where they didn't. So the fix, Giannis. He is the perfect balance to every problem Boston has. Last in free throw rate? Check. Last in shots near the basket? Check. Yo, if the blueprint to beat Boston is obvious, right? Like they were held under 30% from 3 in all 4 losses to Philly just now in the playoffs, then Giannis is the perfect change of pace to make them unbeatable, not to mention his elite defense. So what will it take? Well, the easy swap is Bucks get Jaylen Brown and let's say 2 first-round picks for Giannis. And before you say, what about Thanasis and Alex? They are now free agents, okay? But why would the Celtics have to send picks, right? Why not just Jaylen for Giannis straight up? Jaylen is younger. Yes, that's true. But like, think about it if you are the Milwaukee Bucks, okay? Ultimately, you would still be a win-now team, but with a worse win-now player. Why would you do that? Unless there were picks involved. Or another option is Atlanta. The Hawks need a number 1 guy. We just saw that. Jaylen wants his own team. Perfect. But the Hawks also have the Bucks picks that they need back in their rebuild. It's a perfect matchup. So the deal, 3-way deal. Hawks get Jaylen Brown, C's get Giannis, Bucks get Jonathan Kuminga, Zachary Shea, Dyson Daniels, and control of 3 first-round picks, including 2 from Milwaukee. Now this doesn't work if this Milwaukee pick in 2026 lands in the top 4, okay? I'm talking if it falls out of top 4. Those are good young players then and their own picks back. But there are rumors also of the Houston Rockets for Jaylen Brown as well. It turns out Kevin Durant and Jaylen is a clean swap. Now the Rockets will probably have to add picks in that deal, but you would be changing one team's headache for the other. But this drama will be resolved very soon no matter what. Jaylen can sign a new extension in Boston, and if either side hesitates on signing, then we'll know where they really stand. Enough of the rumor BS in the offseason. Overhyped. We'll see. We will get cold, hard facts. But this tension, for some reason, has always existed with Jaylen Brown. We thought it would go with the championship, but apparently not. But I know because I live in Houston, I'm going to get some relative asking me about Jaylen Brown because there's at least a little rumor about him being a Rocket. And they'll say, what's he like? What's his resume? I'll say finals MVP, but he's still in his 20s. And he led the Celtics to 56 wins, 2 seed in the East without his best teammate. And it'll be like, oh my gosh, we're like getting Kawhi in 2019 for the Raptors. But for some reason, I don't have the same feeling about Jaylen Brown as I do Kawhi. Despite, the finals MVP being young, that whole thing. Not just because Kawhi was injured, but, Kawhi feels more like the head down, do your work type thing. He comes with his own drama. But I feel like Jaylen Brown's drama is more in the Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving category of things. And if you gave Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, Jaylen Brown, especially Jaylen and Kyrie, an IQ test, they would rate very high, like some of the smartest guys in the league. And they're involved in like good community stuff, like very admirable things off the court. They're very principled, right? But there's a lack of self-awareness, especially when Kyrie was younger, that I sense here with Jaylen Brown. And it's a lack of maturity as well. Like one thing that kind of threw me off, not only if you're Jaylen, for you to say that this was your favorite season ever and not automatically perceive how that could be perceived by the media and by other people. Your best teammate was injured the whole year. You guys lost in the first round, but it happened to be your favorite when you were the leading scorer and you had career highs and all these stats for you. Now, of course, later on the live stream yesterday, he goes off and says, oh no, it's because of the fight of my teammates and I got to see young Hugo Gonzalez come in, go from a nobody to a somebody in the league. But it just so happened to be your best year. It just didn't feel right. And for him to not perceive that automatically, he had no idea, right? And that reminds me of stuff that Kyrie would do and say. And even though you're smart, it creates unnecessary drama that you just don't need, right? And Kyrie also, I think he is a streamer. A streamer and a podcaster I just don't want on my team, okay? And that obviously goes with Draymond Green as well. But also like Kyrie, Jaylen Brown, Kyrie was young, he had his own team, and then LeBron goes there, and they have success. They win a championship. Kyrie was not finals MVP, but Kyrie hit the biggest shot of maybe the 2010s in that Game 7 against the Warriors, and he's super celebrated for them to win the championship. And one of the most important championships in NBA history, the 2016 Cleveland Cavaliers championship, right? And he wasn't happy. He wanted out of LeBron's shadow, to have his own team because he felt like he deserved it. And this is exactly what we're seeing, what we're hearing and whispering about Jaylen Brown, is that the success wasn't good enough. He wants out of Jason Tatum's shadow. I guess he doesn't cast a huge shadow in my mind, but he wants his own team is what a lot of people are saying. But the thing about Kyrie is that later on, he realized that all the great things that he could have done had he stayed with LeBron and stayed humble like that, right? And I think later on in his career, him and LeBron tried to get back on the same team, but it just could never work, right? But what ended up happening with Kyrie? He left the Cavaliers and he goes to the Celtics and he tries to be the veteran and the elder statesman, and it kind of blows up in his face. Not only do they not win, but a lot of the younger guys, revolted against him. And it was a really bad taste in his mouth. That's exactly what would happen if Jaylen Brown came to Houston with the young guys on the Rockets, right? Especially if they don't win. And then he goes from there to Brooklyn, where he has his super mega drama phase, where the Nets had more drama per minute than any team in NBA history, which just reminds me of Jaylen Brown, okay? Some of the conspiracy stuff, I know that Kyrie's stuff was more like off the court weird stuff with conspiracy, but I feel like Jaylen also has a conspiracy mindset where he thinks everything is against him. Like with the referees, I'm sorry, but one thing he said in his original live stream was, he goes, I'm criticizing the referees and I know I'm going to get fined because they fine you when you tell the truth. Really? Or is it that, You're criticizing referees, basically saying they're corrupt, that they all got together to conspire against you. The NBA is basically WWE. Is that why they're going to fine you? Or is it because you're telling the truth, really? Like that whole conspiracy mindset. And it also makes me doubt his whole thing where he said he was kicked off Team USA because he's not a Nike guy. Like, okay, it might be true, but once again, it's a conspiracy, the whole world's against me thing. And it's a lack of self-awareness. It reminds me so much of the immature Kyrie, who is so talented, but a problem for all the teams. Then what eventually happens with Kyrie? He goes to Dallas, he accepts the number 2 role behind Luka and has huge success. Not only on the court, where they go to the NBA Finals, but also in the court of public opinion, where everyone loves Kyrie again. Because we all want to love Kyrie. It was just all the other stuff, right? And so, the maturation that Kyrie has had, I feel so much Kevin Durant / Kyrie Irving in Jaylen Brown. It's like, I don't want to be your team where you mature on, please. Okay? It's like, leave the Celtics, then have 2-3 stops like Kyrie, and then finally have the maturing when you're older. I don't want to be the 2-3 stops in the middle, please. Thank you very much. Okay? So when my cousins or whoever is going to ask me about Jaylen Brown and I'm going to tell him about the great resume and everything, there is a huge reservation for me why I don't want him to be on the Rockets. It has nothing to do with talent, it has everything to do with mentality. A lot of it is justified, maybe, but there's just something there that he does that doesn't quite fit. And it's not IQ. It's more self-awareness and all that other stuff. So once again, another chat. This is just for subscribers I'm talking right now. I don't know whether, I'm just going to be totally honest. I don't know whether to do these at the end of videos, always, or only do them at the end of videos when I feel like I have something to say, like today, or do a second channel where it's just talking and it's more of a podcast than a second channel. But then AM Hoops would be only the news at the beginning with no talk at the end. And if you want to get a talk, you'd have to go to another channel. I don't know. I really don't know. So that's okay. Just tell me what your opinion is. Also, watch this other video that we did about the Mavericks and how hiring Masai Ujiri is a big deal for the Mavs. Although the big question would be with him, if he's so great, why did the Raptors fire him less than a year ago? It's good.